Honestly, this is much more practical than doing other ways. You should just do like.
Okay, so as follows. So Chulent on a Friday night. So we're going to go through the basic rules of Chazara instead of going through, as most people do, rules and telling you these are 5 Tanayim. Generally, what we have found is that when you start remembering rules, you don't remember anything. And then you go to your Chulent, like, wait, there's 5 different rules, and what are they? I don't know, and you're just confused. So we're going to tell a story, how it works, and hopefully the story you'll be able to reconstruct when you have to get your Chulent on Friday night. Throughout the story, we'll be pointing out what the halachas are. So you have your Chulent on a Friday night. Your Chulent is in a crackpot. A crackpot is an entity who has walls on the sides and the bottom. We're talking about that type of crackpot with a Chulent inside. Your Chulent is not on a blech. Your Chulent is not on a flame. Your Chulent is in a crackpot. Will the halachas change? Perhaps, very, very minimally. Your Chulent is in a crackpot. To start, what is a crackpot? A crackpot is ish, is fire. That is a crackpot. There's heating elements around the sides and the bottom. The crackpot has a din of an ish. The heating element is covered. Doesn't make a difference because that part gets boiling hot. So the simplest way of viewing a crackpot has a din of an ish. Beautiful. So you approach your crackpot. Before you touch your crackpot, you have to ask question number 1. Is my Chulent fully cooked? If my Chulent is not fully cooked, you are not allowed to touch your Chulent. If your Chulent is not fully cooked, you're not even allowed to open the lid and peek inside and do one of those. No, you can't. Because if your Chulent is not fully cooked and you open the lid, you cannot close the lid. Why can you not close the lid? Because that makes it cook faster. If anyone's ever tried to boil a pot of water, a covered pot cooks faster than an uncovered pot. So rule number 1, Chulent has to be fully cooked. So when you approach, your Chulent is fully cooked. If it's not fully cooked, there's nothing to do. Wonderful. Rule number 2 is you take out your Chulent. When you take out your Chulent and you look inside, what should you see? There hopefully should be a piece of foil inside your crockpot. Some sort of foil lining the inside of your crockpot. Let's say there isn't. You can make it on Shabbos. You take foil, you line the inside on Shabbos. Not, again, this is the pot. This is the outside heating element. That inside of your outside heating element should be lined with foil. You could do it today and leave it there on May of the Esrim, and it works. If anyone is thinking and wonders why does that work, if the whole point of the foil is to make a hecker that you're not cooking, why does it work if the foil always stays there? Because then it doesn't do anything? Very good question. But l'maisa b'diavad, if the foil goes in and stays there forever, it works. I said b'diavad, you want to know lechatchila probably should take the foil in and out every single week. You have no clue what I just said. Just leave that. Maybe we'll come back to another time. But for now, you take out the Chulent and you look inside. You should see foil. You don't see foil. You put foil inside.
Right. And that's a blech.
That is quote unquote a blech. Now your flame, your ish, is covered. It's no longer an exposed ish. Now it's covered with foil. Very simple. You're right. That is in English what we would refer to as a blech. What is a blech? The balls and things like that. Maybe we'll talk. That's advanced science. L'chatchila, you put some balls to raise it up. Without getting complicated, if you didn't put if you didn't raise it up, but you put the foil in, usually if you put adequate foil, it also raises it up. The reason people like the foil balls and not just putting the foil inside is because you put a very thin layer of foil inside, then it doesn't do anything. But if you put adequate foil, then it would. Or you put a thin layer and you add a little silver ball to raise it up. That's a totally different sugya. That's a totally different sugya. That's for Hatamana. Shlomo Zalman was nifter with a crackpot right next to his bed. That's a true story. On his night table was a crackpot dealing with this shayla of Hatamana, which we don't have to talk about right now. But yes, the chatchila, not only should it be lined, you should also have silver foil balls. The reason why maybe I didn't mention it is because maybe there are those who are chaylik on Shlomo Zalman, and maybe let's leave it for now. So you take out your Chulent. The inside is lined. You're holding your Chulent. You have to hold it in your hand. You have to balance it. It has to be on the edge of the table. Says Ramaisha Oida Biyada. This means your hand is on it. Hand is on it. You are now connected to your Chulent. You do not have to be holding it, supporting it. There are those who are machmir. But as long as your hand is on it, says Ramesha, that is fine. And by the way, this is one of the reasons that if this kula of Ramesha really negates many of the issues that people have with taking Chulent when they have to take it out. Because people run into the issue, they take it out, and they have to balance it, and they need 2 different people, and it becomes very complicated. But if you're just going to say, as long as your hand is on it, it's okay, we really saved ourselves a lot of problems. Your hand is on it, you open up the cover, you scoop your Chulent, you cover it up, and you put it back in, and you took your Chulent on a Friday night. Now, ironically, we just fulfilled 5 conditions of Chazar, and this will conclude. How do we just get 5 conditions of Chazar? Number 1, It was mavushal called tzarka. When I walked and I approached, it was fully cooked. Number 2, when I took it out, I saw the foil inside. That's called garf v'katum. That's called a blech. Number 3, it was oide b'yadai. My hand was on it the whole time. Number 4, I didn't even mention, because you're taking cholent on a Friday night. So what were you thinking when you take cholent on Friday night? I'm hungry, I want cholent on Friday night. But if I were to pause and ask you, what are you going to do with that cholent when you're done? Well, obviously I'm putting it back. I need cholent tomorrow. So that's called daitoi lahachzir. You had das to return it. Should you have positive das? Says Rabbi Kiveger, of course, but in this type of scenario, you had that. And number 5 was the food still hot when you put it back? Of course, the cholent was still hot. I took it out for 3 minutes and I covered it, put it back. That's condition number 5, that the food has to still be cham, warm when you put it back. So we just fulfilled 5 conditions. But if we just remember something very simple, just remember the story. You approach your cholent, fully cooked. The inside is lined. I keep my hand on it. I have das to put it back. It's still warm. I have my 5 conditions of chazara without making everything very, very complicated. Is that simple enough?